You want to do it?
You got it. You're live. You got this.
We are live, man. Yeah. What is the date here? June 6th, 2022. At the time of the live broadcast, it is 8:30 p.m. in the CLE. Coming live from a couple of fantastic Midwest towns. Dennis, thanks for coming on. Thanks for hanging out. I've got a couple of things I want to discuss. You're the man to discuss them with me, and I appreciate you being here, dude.
Thank you for having me as always.
Yeah, man. So let's do the three main stories today. We're gonna compare AT&T Elite, which is now AT&T Premium, right? The unlimited how do they actually structure it? Unlimited Your Way Premium, right? So that's like the new name. Previously, Unlimited Elite, all right? So that's technically a new plan. It's got a different structure than the previous one. If you have the old one, don't worry. Don't change anything. You get to keep everything the way it is. But we'll talk about the new plan as it's structured, how it compares to T-Mobile's premium offer, which is Magenta MAX, and then also we'll throw in the third, which is going to be the Verizon Get More plan. So we're going to look at all three, top shelf, the best that they're willing to give you, how they all stack up against each other. Then we're going to do the Google Fi story. They got this network sharing. Big shout out to the Bearded Dragon. Appreciate you for sharing this with me, sir. It inspired me to cover it here on the podcast. And then we'll throw in the Starlink. They've surpassed 400,000 global subscribers. Wow. Amazing, isn't it? 400,000 subscribers, Dennis. You're impressed?
Honest answer or the nice answer?
Hey, man, you know I'm playing. You know it's unimpressive. Go ahead, tell them.
I mean, look, I'm going to call it like it is. I can see Starlink probably getting somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 million subscribers. Like, I can see it getting that point, but 400,000 is nothing.
No.
That's literally, to give you perspective, I am like 99.999% sure that is less subscribers than Armstrong Cable has, and they're a regional provider.
Yeah, that's facts. We'll discuss it anyways, and we'll see the deets that are in the story. All right, let's start first with the comparison. Dennis, do me a solid, man. Get the link for the page. I have the link up. If you want to just put it into the live chat, I think I may have already put it into the show notes, but they don't show while you're live. So if you could maybe share the link for the best phone plans, it's got like all the plans compared. So like the entry level for T-Mobile, the entry level for Verizon, entry level for AT&T, all the way down to their mid plans and then their premium plans. If you could just share the website with the people of the nation so they know how to navigate it and where they can go. I'm going to go ahead and do a screen share and I'll show them what I'm looking at. And that way they can follow along at home if they'd like to.
I
Right.
shared a link. Do you actually want me to share my screen to like show an example of navigation, or?
Well, so this is the one I got. And I don't know if you'd be looking at something different.
I just linked the main page. It looks like you did the compare plans
Right.
section. Okay.
Yeah, this is what I wanted. Yeah, so if you want to just get them the main page, and then if you want to find this one too, but this is actually this is what I wanted to specifically focus in on. So what you can do, and this is the nice thing about Stetson and the web page that he's built, is you can directly compare apples to apples, right? So this is MNO, this is the premium, the creme de la creme, and this is their best plans. Okay, so let's take a look at the structure. Let's look at the pricing. You know, Dennis, if I miss something, catch me, and get it corrected because there's a lot of details in this. Okay, so pricing. The change to the unlimited elite to the unlimited premium, there is no pricing change. So all this is exactly the same. T-Mobile's Magenta Max, $85, unlimited premium for AT&T, $85. Verizon, the most expensive at $90. So that's going to be the setting the stage for the value evaluation. Like you can't really talk value unless you set that up first, right? So like how much does each plan cost? And then you go from there with features. Okay. So T-Mobile has the unlimited priority, meaning they never throttle you or deprioritize you under any terms. That's what they say. Okay. Verizon, you got 50 gigs of priority, and then you are subject to deprio. And then for AT&T, 100 gigs of priority data. And again, these are
That's
all.
actually that info is actually slightly incorrect. Those are older.
Oh, yeah. So now all these are unlimited priority, aren't they, Dennis?
Yes. So Verizon's all these have unlimited priority data on device. Verizon has 50 gigs of hotspot, and so does AT&T with 50 gigs of hotspot now. AT&T now, or
Huh.
excuse me,
Dennis,
T-Mobile
do you
now
have the
has.
updated version of this page? I see it
I
now. It says 2021. So this is the old version of the page.
yeah.
All right, let's see if maybe I click on something here. I'm going to go to, I guess this is good. You guys can see how to navigate the page. I'm going to go to compare plans and see if I can find an updated version. Let's see here.
Sure.
Okay, so there's compare all cell phone plans. Wow, look at all these things. Okay, so I got to give it up to Stetson, man. He really did a nice job of laying this out here. He's got every single carrier. Does he really have all like 140 MVNOs up here?
Not all 140, but all the ones that are legitimate enough to be deserving.
Okay.
But
All right.
on a side note, I, I know that when I clicked on best AT&T plans on the filter, so if you go like if you actually hit upper left hand corner, top left hand corner, like where it says best phone plans, like,
Okay.
and then you just click on best AT&T from that little filter pool. If you scroll down like a smidgen, see where it says best AT&T plan. Oh, you passed it right there to the left.
Right
When I
there.
clicked on that, it shows the correct plan. If you click on, well, once it loads for you.
Okay.
So AT&T Elite to the right, see it? If you
There we
click
go.
on that,
Okay, so here's so this
but
exactly.
if you actually click on it, there's expanded details. So if you click on it,
Let's do this. Excellent. Now we can get all the finite things here. Okay. So
yeah,
we got $85 per month for a single line, and you're getting all things unlimited.
mm-hmm.
All right, you're getting unlimited
Unlimited
premium
premium.
data, so you're never going to be slowed down, full speed, all things 5G, 40 gigs of hotspot.
That's the old one. So
So
that's
that's going
the
to get the upgrade to 50 gigs now with the change.
yep.
We got 4K video streaming. Video content is uncapped. Volti, all this stuff is pretty standard. You could do eSIM. Okay. QSAT value is 7. International texting, international calling details are there. Okay. Used to be HBO Max. Now that's got to be removed. All the other stuff stays the same, from what I understand. AT&T does not offer auto pay discounts. Okay. All right. So Dennis, essentially what we've lost and what we've gained. We've gone from, the HBO Max included. That gets taken away, and then they add 10 more gigs of hotspot tethering. So let's actually go back, and we're going to, I think you said it was the best. Yeah, let's go to the best T-Mobile plans. Let's compare that to T-Mobile.
Ooh.
Okay, that's not good.
it's,
Okay.
it's very possible that Stetson could still be working on the site. Although when I clicked on best T-Mobile, it loaded fine for me. So maybe that's a
Okay, so
yeah.
this has all the plans here. It's
Yeah,
got
so
like,
there's a drop down bar. Oh, too far. Just ever so slightly down. And stop. Stop. Oh, right there. See the little slidey bar, horizontal?
there we
Boom.
go.
There's your Magenta Max now if you scroll up.
Okay. All right, so let's compare this to what we just saw, the details. All right, pricing, absolutely the same.
Well,
Unlim-
actually, cheaper because tax and fees are included.
Oh yeah, true. We can't forget about that. Yeah, all Magenta plans include tax and fees. Good catch. All right, full speed data, unlimited premium data, all things 5G, 40 gig of hotspot. So this is going to have 10 gigs less. 4K video stream, video content stream at full speed. All this other stuff seems pretty much the same. They do have some texting internationally, some calling internationally. Canada and Mexico notes are there. Let's see what else we got here. T-Mobile Tuesdays, Netflix Basic
For
for
single
free
line.
for
Yeah.
single line. Okay. Go in flight. That's a pretty cool perk. We like that.
I used that actually when I flew out to see Carlos.
Right, it's pretty nice, man. You would be mad if you had it, liked it, and then they took it away, right?
Oh, 100%.
See, that's one of those features. I agree, man. I think that's what it is. Let's see what else. $5 auto pay discount. Um, Let me see. Anything else we need to know about this plan, Dennis?
Well, one thing that's not mentioned in the notes on the site yet is the fact that it does get you the discount on the bundling with Magenta MAX, T-Mobile Home Internet.
That's true. It'll cut the price in half, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
and one other thing I guess that's worth mentioning that is slightly worse than the AT&T plan is the fact that you only get 5 gigabytes of high-speed data in Mexico and Canada.
Okay. Which is, when you take your AT&T to those places, it's pretty much normal, right? It's basically
N-
domestic.
Yeah, so for AT&T, it's true unlimited. For T-Mobile, it's only 5 gigs.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's something to consider if you're the international traveler, I suppose. Okay. So that's pretty much everything you need to know about the plan. Um, I don't know. Which one do you like better, Dennis? Just right off the rip between those two, comparing the Magenta Max to the AT&T Premium.
Magenta Max.
I have to agree, man. I like the T-Mobile Magenta Max plan also. And
Yeah,
there's
like if we're
certain
just
things.
talking plan, like if you're just talking plan and nothing else, the Magenta Max is better.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the Magenta Max plan is structured better. There's just more value, there's more things. And even if you didn't use some of them, there's still probably more on there than the Elite or a formerly Elite and now Premium plan. Yeah.
I mean, I just look at it. This is my whole stance on it, and the reason why I say it. So the two selling points for AT&T are the following: 10 gigs extra hotspot, which I'm gonna be honest, I don't use enough hotspot to justify it. And if I was someone that was a heavy hotspot user, 10 gigs doesn't make the difference for me. And then second thing is, and this is the more important one, when it comes to international travel specifically, while AT&T is definitely better for traveling in North America and South America, AT&T is pretty comparable in other places in the world, and T-Mobile does I'll say, good enough job with the whole unlimited 2G data, which, I know it's not crazy fast or nothing, but it's good enough for iMessage and the unlimited texting. And as far as Canada and Mexico goes, I feel like 5 gigs is enough. It's better than the next person we're going to be talking about, which is Verizon. So that's kind of the reason why I say the way I am, especially since I'm mostly stateside.
Okay, so this does a
You're trying to
drop
do the
down box.
comparison thing now.
Yeah, let's do Verizon.
Yeah, so you got to make sure you're clicking on the
Got
Get
it.
More. There you go. That's the updated one. Play More was
Yeah.
old, Get More is new.
All right, so here is the Verizon 5G Get More. $5 more per month on the single line. All things unlimited, right? Let's see, anything else we got to know here? 50 gig hotspot, 720p HD video. This is kind of video content streams at up to 4 megabits per second. These things are all pretty restrictive. When you look at their competitors, they're not restricting to 720p or even 1080p. They're giving you 4K, and pretty much unlimited. I mean, if you could go 8K, you could essentially do it on the AT&T plan. The 50 gig hotspot is industry leading, so that's good. If you're on 5G ultra wideband, all these things are off, like no worries. But for the times where you're on LTE or the 5G DSS, this stuff is going to stink. Not fun, man. Their international usage is horrible. I don't like it. It's very expensive. It's very limited. Half a gig in most countries. You're paying $10 a day, I think, isn't it? Oh,
Yeah, it's $10 per day per line, and unlimited calling, texting, and half a gig of data before being throttled. Although you do get a travel pass each month, accumulating up to 12 in a year, but still half a gig is nothing.
yeah. I think the highlights for the perks, if you're in the market for a home internet option, 50% off the Verizon 5G or LTE home. That's pretty nice. If they serve you with Fios, $30 off is clutch. You could essentially move up to the gigabit tier and be paying the same you would pay for like a 300 meg tier, or pretty close, I think. Let's see here, 50% off of connected device plans. So that's like smartwatches, tablets. I think they do 50% off of jetpacks too, and their plans. So that's nice. I don't use the storage myself, but I guess that could be good for some people if they need cloud storage. The Disney bundle, my family loves, right? So like we love Disney Plus.
I
My
got
wife
sad news
loves
for you on
Hulu,
that.
and then I watch ESPN Plus. I do use the Google Play Pass and Apple Music as well. I don't use Apple Arcade though.
I got sad news for you on that front.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard rumors that that's going to go bye-bye.
Well, I mean, I did predict it last week at the live stream. Once AT&T, like if you guys, in case you're not catching it, AT&T does stuff, Verizon does stuff. So like AT&T added a $6 increase to their legacy plans on single line and then $12 multi-line. Literally 2 weeks later, what does Verizon do? Add $2 to their administration economic recovery fee or whatever it's called. You guys catching the drift here? AT&T does something bad, Verizon's like, okay, we can get away with it too, because our main competitor is doing it. So that wouldn't surprise me, Dennis. Wouldn't surprise me at all, sir. All right. So what's your take here, man? We got 50 gigs. Wait, isn't it full? No prior, right?
You're on either the wrong one again or something, but yeah, it's full unlimited.
Those are old notes. I'm assuming they just haven't been updated.
Yeah,
Okay.
maybe.
What's your take, Dennis? How does it compare to the competition, bud?
It's the worst plan. Just hands down, you can't defend it in any way. Like, the only thing of note or merit is the fact that the hotspot is the fastest when on ultra wideband compared to the other guys when you used up your exhausted your hotspot data. But like, nah, it's bad.
No, there's the value just isn't there. Most expensive, most restrictive in usage. The value added to this has to be the like Disney bundle. Like that's big time. You could also find value in getting a discount on the fixed wireless and the FiOS.
Yeah, but
Again, that's situational, right?
The FiOS one is less good than you're making it out to be, Sneed. Primarily because of the fact that like I was able to take advantage of a loyalty discount, which is the same discount, and it didn't require me to get Verizon like at
Yeah,
all.
but the loyalty discount isn't $30. It's
Yeah,
$10.
no, 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 no. Loyalty discount's 30.
Oh, nice. For FiOS?
Yeah,
Okay,
that's how I
that's
got.
pretty
That's
nice.
how I
Yeah.
got my bill down to 65.
The wireless loyalty discounts are $10 unless they got some newer ones. That's possible. Maybe that's why you got more. Yeah.
Yeah, because I had to get bumped up to Gig 2.0, which is like $100. Then AutoPay knocks it down to
90,
90, and then
30
my
off,
30 off of that, which brought it down to
60.
70. No, I'm doing math wrong.
Yeah,
Am I?
$100, $10 off auto pay puts you to 90. 90 minus 30 for the loyalty discount, 60.
Oh, well, I'm at 65, so then I must have did math wrong somewhere along the way.
Maybe it's
But
a $25 loyalty discount.
maybe it's 20 plus the $10 from the AutoPay, which makes 30. I don't know.
Okay. Okay.
Point being is that the discount is not a reason to invest in the most expensive plan in the industry with the worst features overall. I mean, traveling wise, it's way more expensive and you get way less value. Streaming perks, okay. Hulu, Disney Plus bundle, ESPN bundle, it's fine. Like, I'm not saying it's not a good bundle, but what does that bundle cost outright? $14 roughly.
$15, I think.
Okay, so
Maybe
we already
14.
know
I'm not
Verizon's
sure.
going to charge you like $15 in taxes and fees. So why not just pick the Magenta Max plan, which is like literally that much cheaper? And now you get to have the Netflix, and if you want to go out of your way to buy the Hulu Plus bundle, you know, you're getting more streaming services, you're getting tax and fees included, and you're getting a better plan. The Verizon cloud storage sounds great in theory, but that's just a way for Verizon to get you to be sticky. Because if you have your stuff backed up with them, it keeps you stickier. And let's be honest, do you trust Verizon with your data? Because I sure don't.
It's hard to trust
And
any of these companies with data. I mean, they keep getting breached, man.
yes, I sure don't trust them with my data. And as far as Apple Music goes, Apple Music is great if you use iPhone. Otherwise, I would argue that Spotify is better in every way, and oftentimes you can get Spotify for like $5, give or
Yeah, and
take.
the integration with the newer like cars and stuff like that is pretty nice.
Yeah, I was thinking of like the student discount where you get like
That's true.
Spotify, Showtime, and something else for like and Hulu for like I think it's like $10. You get all three of those things.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's I feel like Verizon really needs to like to step their game up, and I don't necessarily think that adding more streaming perks does it. I think the more important thing for Verizon is building a plan that actually shows the real benefit of what all these 5G fun bucks does for the consumer, because ultimately the experience on the Verizon plan for what the consumer is going to interact with most is honestly even worse than their old buy the gig plans from back in the ice cream days.
Remember that. All right, man. Look, when we evaluate these plans, there's a couple things that give T-Mobile the edge with this. It's the tax and fees included, and it is the really unrestrictive experience. Because you are paying for a lot, they're like, hey, well, since you pay, this is the most expensive plan we got, we're going to give you a lot of capacity to use. Verizon's still pretty restrictive unless you're on ultra wideband. Those same terms also exist on their lesser plans. So, like, there are 2 or 3 things that Verizon would need to do to this plan to make it more like Magenta MAX. And there's 2 or 3 things Verizon would have to do to make it more like the AT&T Premium or AT&T Elite. So they're coming up short and they're charging more. I I don't like this plan.
Sneed, just so you know, Verizon, I just did the math real quick. So on a 4-line account, Verizon's charging $12 more per line, and that's even before taxes, which means for a 4-line account, they're already $48 more expensive than Magenta Max.
Yeah.
So with taxes, you might as well say they're about $60 to $70 more expensive on a
Yeah.
4-line account.
The Verizon Get More plan is super expensive, and unless you're going to maximize the use of all things that come on as perks, how do you justify it? You know what I'm saying, Dennis? Like, if I'm getting Get More, I'm going to have to use that 5G home internet discount or that Fios discount. I'm going to have to use the Disney bundle. Like, literally everything would have to be maximized to make it work from a business standpoint, like counting your dollars and cents. If you don't use all of it, somehow, some way, you're better off going to the other carriers and getting their premium plans and saving your money that way.
Also, I'm going to just give a hot take. Verizon's justification for a more premium pricing being the network, I feel like has been slipping away in these last 6 months specifically. I mean, we've seen how many network outages from Verizon now, or large
Well,
enough
you know what it
outages.
is, Dennis? The
What's
the
that?
thing that was always the separator, the network, they're having the same issues that AT&T and T-Mobile have. So the thing that made them unique and different, well, now they're not unique and different. Now they're just like the other ones. Now they have the occasional outage or the frequent or whatever. So how you going to sit there and say, "Oh, Verizon is this premium carrier. They got the best network, the most reliable network." You can say you are the most reliable network when your network is unavailable the least amount of time. But the moment it starts behaving like the others, then it's just another offer. It's just another network. Now it's not special anymore. What do you have? And I don't know, Dennis, do you follow sports much? Like, do
Sort
you
of.
know who LeBron James is?
Oh, of course.
Okay, like LeBron at 25, 30 years old, an absolutely incredible athlete, supreme talent, ultra skilled, like so good, right? Like the GOAT of his era, right? So good. Well, now he's like 37. Now what? He's an elite scorer. He can't play defense or chooses not to. Like, there's all these little nuances. Like, he only plays like 50, 60 games a year because he's older, right? Like, I'm starting to look at Verizon as like if you're having outages, if you're becoming unreliable like the others, well, then now you're just another one. So I might as well have a different carrier where I'm paying less and or getting more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree. Like literally the hierarchy in this order for me goes T-Mobile's the best value plan for now, then AT&T, and then Verizon is a very far behind like third place.
Even with AT&T losing the HBO Max.
Yeah, even with AT&T, because here's the thing, Sneed. The the premium network access features far outweigh the, because here's the thing, okay? Everyone can benefit from 4K video streaming, regardless of like what you want to watch. Like uncapped video, everyone can benefit from that because everybody and their mother consumes video on their phone, right? Not everyone's gonna benefit from Apple Arcade. Not everyone's gonna benefit from Apple Music. Not everyone's gonna benefit from 600 gigabytes of Verizon cloud storage. Like all those things, for the vast, at least 50% of Verizon's subscriber base are useless because
But you know what everybody would benefit from, Dennis?
what's that?
Taxes and fees included.
I agree. But I'm just saying, like, 4K video alone is better than those three things. Now, you can say, everybody loves the Hulu Disney Plus bundle or ESPN Plus. Like, there's going to be something for somebody in that mix of content. But on the other hand, I could argue with you that the significantly better roaming internationally on AT&T side far outweighs that value perk because people do travel, and with the somewhat of a recovery happening, resurgence in flights, there are more people traveling than ever before. What are you going to be happier with, Sneed? The company that gives you unlimited data when you travel for $10 per day, or the company that gives you half a gig? I know which one would be a better for my travel experience. And Canada, Mexico being like, and those Latin American countries, that's massive. Like, people don't realize it, but the US has a really large, like, Latin American slash like Mexican population. So that subscriber base gets far more value and benefit from the AT&T plan than the people that would define value from the Hulu bundle. Because most of the time with people that really care about streaming, they don't like ads, and Verizon gives you the ad version, and they would probably rather just have like Hulu no ads versus the ESPN Plus fluff. Or they might wait, or for parents, they might rather have just Disney Plus, which is $6, than to pay for the whole bundle because they don't care about anything that's on Hulu because of like live TV. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
people complained the whole time before about bundles sucking because they just want to pay for what they want. And while having the bundle can provide value if all the boxes get checked off for you, I would say it benefits the order of operations of value in the hierarchy of things is much lower when it comes to those. Those are cherries on tops, not the what provides real meaningful value in my and improves my user experience, you know?
Yeah, so like for example, I'm a Verizon customer. I've had them for years, and I was a customer on Verizon when it was Alltel, right? And simply put, I was with Verizon. I'm still on Verizon because of one thing, and that is their network is the most reliable in Cleveland. It hardly ever goes down. They have backup power on every site. It is generally more than enough capacity. I don't really have too many issues. It doesn't really drop calls. Like I don't have major issues with Verizon. I don't really have major issues with T-Mobile. There's occasional hiccups. I mean, I have had a couple of things like some weird stuff that has happened. So like Verizon gets the edge for reliability against T-Mobile, and then AT&T is pretty close to Verizon when it comes to reliability. But when I look at AT&T, their tower handoffs because of spacing in my market, they can be suspect at times. So when I'm live streaming and I'm mobile, that's where it struggles. Verizon is the best live streaming network for me. So that's why I still
Hold
keep
on.
them.
Hold on. I got to throw a curveball. We can't ignore the fact that you identified that Verizon has been throttling your upload to YouTube.
Well, that's like brand new, and I'm still investigating that. I have to see if that's holding up because it did it on my US mobile usage. It did it on my Xfinity mobile usage. Now I have to test postpaid Verizon and see if it's a YouTube thing or if it's a Verizon thing. I'm trying to figure that part out. You know what I'm saying, Dennis?
Yes, but if that remains true, you can't say Verizon is the best uploader anymore because
Well, I
you
was only talking about the live stream, but yeah, uploading is really important to me, and that's another thing. I always upload my videos on Verizon because the uplink has always been great. Their tower grid is super tight, right? They got a lot of sites, and because the signal strength is usually very strong on midband, the uplink's usually pretty good.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, even for live streaming, you poo-pooed 5 meg before until I tested it and proved a point, but you can't call it the best. At
On a
that
mobile network, Dennis, it's very different than a static connection.
fair.
You know, like you're gonna do a tower handoff and all you got is 5 meg. That's gonna drop down to like 1 meg or less with a bad handoff.
Fair, fair.
So, but I will tell you this, Dennis, the moment that Verizon is not the most reliable in Cleveland, the moment that those uplinks are being throttled and I can pinpoint it to Verizon as the cause, we have a problem, sir. You know, I have to evaluate my position, right? I have to look at AT&T or T-Mobile at that point, and I mean, they're not as reliable as Verizon is here. I mean, I could make the argument for AT&T maybe, but I mean, like T-Mobile hardly really works well at my gym. You know, there's just a couple of things that are a struggle. So to me, T-Mobile is not really an option here until they get some small cells and I don't know, they build some more macros. Then maybe we could talk, but it's rough at times, you know, and they don't have backup power here. When T-Mobile's network goes down, it's down here, like for hours. Like power's out, it's done. But I don't know. They still have not had fitted a lot of these sites with backup generators.
So Sneed, real quick, if we're talking about like reliability, which you're focusing on heavily, do you want to know how I would give reliability scores and what categories would win in which?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
So for me personally, and this has been my experience overall, Verizon generally the most reliable for calls. The exception being Pittsburgh, where I would say it's a tie with AT&T, but that's like an exception case for like the broad stroke of the nation, I would say. So Verizon, they got call quality down, which is good. Texting, I give the win to AT&T undisputedly. Like SMS texting, MMS texting, not like RCS, just basic texting, AT&T. For data, if we're talking about data reliability, so basically, and by that I mean being able to get reliable, fast speeds to do what you want on your phone without it being a problem. I can't believe I'm going to say this, but for the scope of the country, I think T-Mobile's hitting that nail on the head more often than not. And the only reason for that is because of 5G UC being so ubiquitously available compared to the other two.
Yeah, man. They're good points, and those are things to consider and evaluate. I have no qualms with them. I think your points, your sticky points, are solid.
So basically, what I'm getting at here is like T-Mobile is going to be consistently fast, generally. I still think AT&T is fast, but when we looked at those root metric scores and like looked out west, and we hear the things from Twitter, from what people tell me, I guess AT&T is not as fast as they used to be, which is the reason why I said what I was saying.
They got a lot of more. They've added a lot of users, Dennis, in the last year,
But
and they've
Verizon,
grown.
hands down, is for data performance, hands down is, I would say, more often than not the worst. And the biggest reason for that just simply comes down to the fact of the issues with the C-band deployment. Like they have, I mean, it is noticeable when C-band is there They have great capacity and even improves their older LTE. But when it gets down powered, which, side note, I'm not the only one that's impacted, Sneed, but when it gets down powered or when it's not available, the speeds are horrendous. Like band 13, band 66 is just simply not enough for Verizon from a capacity standpoint. You will be lucky to push past 20 meg if you're lucky. And if you're in a really bad spot like me, you're pulling less than 10, maybe even less than 3.
The sites need to be upgraded too, like fully modernized. So, for example, you know how you're talking about like band 13 and 66?
Yeah.
Like here, Verizon has band 5 also, and lots of it. They have band 2 here. You know, like those sites all need all of that. Like they got band 2 over there too. Like every single site needs to have every single band and every single frequency broadcasting to support all devices. Like there are LTE only devices, there are 5G devices, there are modern 5G devices, there's first gen 5G devices. Every network technology needs to be supported on every site. I'm a firm believer in that, dude. Like when they go up to do these sites, everything from low band to mid band to millimeter wave, bro. It's CBRS and everything. They should just, as long as the fiber is there, right? That's important. The fiber backhaul, the transport. Make sure that it's freaking, multi-gig circuit. Put up the millimeter wave with everything else. If it's, gig fiber backhaul, then you put what you can up there.
So there's two comments I want to quickly address. Nikki T, Verizon does fine here even without C-band. I have a feeling that if they're doing good where you're at, they probably have some other level of spectrum, whether that be band
Oh,
5,
they've
which
got
means,
millimeter wave, and they probably have CBRS too.
well, I was gonna say whether it be band 5, which that extra 10 megahertz makes a world of difference, like a meaningful amount of difference, or whether it be the CBRS, which is just delicious. There has to be something there. Like if you're on a band 13 area or a band 13, band 66, I promise you and it's a market where Verizon has meaningful like subscriber base. I promise you, your experience is going to be miserable when it comes to data connectivity. Um, and then the second one is what I wanted to touch on, which is from Carlos. Um, he said, "What you guys are noticing all this is because you're running speed tests nonstop. I never notice issues when I'm even on a 13 only because it loads my stuff, no issues." So, generally speaking, well, first off, Carlos, thank you always for commenting, man. But generally speaking, I don't know about this for you, Sneed, but when I feel the need to run a speed test, it's typically because I'm noticing my phone either not performing like it should or because I see the UW icon. I don't know if that's for you, Sneed, but that generally tends to be the case for myself personally, is when data is.
I do not speed test on my own time. The only time I speed test is when I'm making content or, going out to test new sites. Like I don't test my home site unless something weird is going on. Like if I had buffering video, I'm going straight to ookla. If I
Same.
had like intermittency going on, I would test it, see the latency, that sort of thing. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Yeah, or if you see UW in a place that you weren't expecting, you might
Sure.
run a quick test. Like those are the two reasons that I would
Or if
do it
I know
unless.
I'm at a site, yeah, and it's from distance and I want to check it out from like 1, or 2 miles away or something like that.
Right, which is different from like an intentional like recording video thing. But generally speaking, it has to be one of those two situations. And I can honestly tell you that I use Verizon a lot for calling. Like I've been convinced that Verizon call quality is fantastic, especially when I talk to Carlos. Carlos knows this. I talk to him for hours on Verizon. It's great. But, and this is the but, Verizon data performance, like if you put a gun to my head and said, Dennis, you're going to rely on this network for your data performance needs, I would honestly choose T-Mobile over Verizon in my market at the moment because of all the issues that have been going on with, blame it on the Samsung gear, blame it on whatever. It doesn't matter. The end result is that the data performance is not good right now. It noticeably took a real nosedive for the most part.
So you're rolling with T-Mobile or AT&T in that case.
Yeah, that's the perfect combo. AT&T for the rural, T-Mobile for when you're deep in the city.
Good stuff, Dennis. Ready for this next one, homie?
Yeah, let's hit it.
All right, the screen share is up. Starlink surpasses 400,000 subscribers. Oh, Dennis, you're going to like this, buddy. All right, this story is from Jeff Baumgartner. He's an editor at lightreading.com. Let's see here. Recent subscriber milestone, amid word of progress on a more powerful Gen 2 version of the satellite platform. All right, this is a provider of home internet and business internet, I suppose. They use what are called LEO or low Earth orbit satellites. They have surpassed 400,000 subscribers worldwide. That is a global number. That number includes both residential and business customers compared to the 250,000 they claimed it had back in March. All right, so let me get this straight, Dennis. They added 150,000 subscribers since March, which was what, 3 months ago or something? 2 or 3 months. Okay, so that's like 40% of their subscriber base in the last few months. Does this mean that they're starting to catch stride here and they're getting some traction? Maybe they're meeting the supply demand type situation?
I mean, they got countless orders on back order, and like I said, I don't know if I said this on the live or behind the scenes, but I mean, I see them getting up to like 20 million. So I would hope that they're adding large gross and that they should, in theory, be either keeping pace with fixed wireless or outpacing fixed wireless, at least for the next few years, if they can get their supply situation straightened out.
36 countries, Asia, Africa, Middle East. They've got 2,500 Starlink satellites so far, and they're going to launch and deploy thousands more. And speaking about the Gen 2 Starlink satellite, it's going to need a larger rocket and launch vehicle. It says here the Gen 2 Starlink satellite is 7 meters long, 2,755 pounds. These things are massive. Okay. I don't know if it compares it to the old satellites, but yeah, these Gen
What makes Gen 2 so different, like from a speed standpoint?
yeah, I think what it does, they're more power efficient. They are able to provide more capacity. They probably have a longer shelf life, I suppose. Let's see here. Preferred configuration for Starlink's Gen 2 platform would support nearly 30,000 satellites at orbits as low as 340 kilometers and as high as 614 kilometers. So maybe it's the just operations. They're just better, maybe more reliable.
Can I say a controversial opinion real quick?
Yeah, go ahead, Dennis.
I think Starlink should be more worried about getting customers to actually buy the service first and less worried about actually getting Gen 2 satellites up because I have a feeling that if they don't start making meaningful revenue, it'll scare off potentially investors as the market tends to do what it's doing. And they might end up in a situation like a HughesNet or a Viasat where they simply don't have the capital to actually improve or upgrade their satellites and end up in this like standstill period.
Hey, Lucky, thanks for the super chat, super sticker. 100 underlined twice. Appreciate that very much. Welcome to the show, and big shout out to Cricket. We know Lucky loves cricket.
But yeah, short version of what I just said, I think Starlink needs to seriously start considering their operational costs and making revenue to recoup the launch costs. Otherwise, they'll go broke and not be able to invest in Gen 2.
Yeah, I'm just disappointed in the inability of them to fulfill more orders, at least from the American standpoint. Like, I wish more people could use this. They got
Dude, it's
people
literally
waiting.
a slam dunk for them. They
Yeah,
literally
I
just
know.
existing makes them money. All they have to do is get the equipment in people's hands, and they're making 110 a month off of each American household. Just say they get to even as low as 5 million Americans. That's real money, like real fast to help invest in upgrades for the network at that point when the capacity needs to improve and so on and so forth. Right now, Starlink should just be focusing on getting the satellites in people's hands, getting the cost down to produce the satellites, and then just focus on the Gen 1 satellites for now. Unless Gen 2 does something that I'm not aware of as far as like cost over the lifetime of the launch that justifies it, they should be focusing on those things at the moment, in my opinion.
All right. Fair enough, Dennis. Last one, buddy. You ready?
Go ahead.
All right. This is a pretty cool feature. Google Fi starts sharing MVNO revenues with Wi-Fi operators at big venues. Mike Dano. Let's see here. 2 years after pledging to do so, Google Fi recently began supporting its Orion Wi-Fi initiative. The move paves the way for Google Fi to share a portion of MVNO revenues with Wi-Fi providers operating in large public venues that have signed on to the Orion Wi-Fi effort. So what this sounds like is there are times where you're somewhere and there are a ton of people congregating and they're congesting networks, right? Everybody's everywhere. And T-Mobile's congested, Verizon's congested, AT&T's congested, right? Too many users on these sites. And DAS systems, not enough. Maybe those places don't have millimeter wave, but there are partners, and I guess we'll just call them partners for the lack of a better term, of Google Fi that have connections for Wi-Fi. And then people who are on Google Fi can just like ORAN, I suppose, kind of like just connect to it because it's Wi-Fi, right? And third-party Wi-Fi network operators would get paid through Google Fi because they're using it like native roaming.
Do you know what this sounds like?
What does it sound like, Dennis?
Sounds exactly like Xfinity Wi-Fi hotspots.
Yeah, but in this case, it'd be Google Fi making these arrangements, not having their own.
True. But I'm
Right.
just saying, like, the setup, like, sounds exactly like that. The only difference is that Google's the one that gets paid instead of Xfinity getting paid when, like, a Spectrum customer uses their hotspots, for example.
But I like this because the thing about like Xfinity hotspots, only Xfinity customers take advantage of it.
And Spectrum.
Well, that's my point. Like you're limiting it. Like this, I mean, you're a Google Fi customer. You can connect to any of these partners. It's not just Xfinity or whatever, you know? So it's a little bit more inclusive.
Yeah, but
And
can I
also,
say
Dennis,
something?
there
Oh,
are
good.
places, I mean, what's the distribution of Xfinity hotspots? Like how many cities?
It's across 39 states. I don't know the city count, but
I'm
39
just
states.
looking at the geographical range. I mean, if Google Fi wants to take this seriously, just think about the amount of partnerships they could form.
Well, what I will say is that in my eyes, this is also somewhat still somewhat exclusive. It's exclusive to stadiums and it's exclusive to must be a partner with Google Fi, right? In my eyes, what I think would be awesome, and Google wouldn't do this, but I'm just saying, talking. I think it would be much more awesome if the industry as a whole would focus on an open initiative, an open source initiative to allow all people to connect to the Wi-Fi for free. Ideally, like no cost paid, just because connectivity is that important. That would be my wish. But anywho, continue with the article. I'm sorry.
Okay. Orion Wi-Fi isn't the first attempt to pair Wi-Fi and cellular networks with some kind of revenue exchange. There was a feature called iPass. It sold a network of Wi-Fi hotspots to corporate customers. The company was acquired by Palladium in 2019. U.S. cable companies like Comcast and Charter operate millions of interoperable public Wi-Fi hotspots, in part for their growing mobile customer base. And so, yeah, they definitely like circled the wagon and kind of what you were talking about, Dennis, here. The Wireless Broadband Alliance. I think they should probably get involved. I think like some of these other companies that provide like the hardware, like the Cisco's of the world and stuff like that. I think somehow, some way, they got to figure out some kind of like open roaming protocol here, like this part of the article is saying, because Dennis, literally everywhere has Wi-Fi on some level. Why are we not finding ways to open up the floodgates of Wi-Fi connectivity? And dude, we got Wi-Fi 6E, we got Wi-Fi 6, all these 5 gigahertz connections. I mean, come on, man. There are so many networks that could be completely, fully utilized in situations where they're needed and necessary, man. I'm with you. You're talking about how they should just like open it up completely because people need to be connected. I totally agree, man.
Yeah, the reason why that won't happen though, Sneed, and you know the answer just as well as I
Because it's
do.
not socialist Dennisville, man.
Yep, it's Capitalistville. Someone wants to get paid.
Oh, man. Spicy hot take. Dennis wants open roaming on all things Wi-Fi, and Sneed thinks so too.
I mean, it should be. It's literally unlicensed, available to the public as a whole. No one owns that
I mean, I'm
spectrum.
talking Dennis, I'm talking about when the cellular network is dead, right? Like, you can't connect. I mean, there's no options. Yeah, they open those suckers up, man.
I mean, I'll just say this. This initiative becomes less and less attractive every year that goes by, and that 5G becomes more accessible, specifically with millimeter wave and small cells, because the wireless need for it diminishes greatly now that carriers actually have a real meaningful amount of spectrum assets. Just my hot take.
No, it's not really a hot take, man. The millimeter wave is massive, for capacity. It's a total boom for
I mean, it
being
literally
able to
has
be.
better range than Wi-Fi. Like it
Oh,
literally
100%.
reached.
It's because of the power. Well, obviously, actually, you know what, man? I have completely changed my process on connectivity. I like directionality. I like directionality. It allows and then you get into like beam forming. I don't know what new Wi-Fi technologies are coming to market in the near future. I have no idea. But like
Wi-Fi 7.
what's that?
Wi-Fi 7 is the next thing that's coming to the Wi-Fi
Right. And
market.
I don't know what type of step that's going to be taken compared to, Wi-Fi 6 and such. But like I love what millimeter wave is doing. And to me, I mean, think about all the great private networks that are going to be built and network sliced through all these MNOs, and regional providers and national providers. I mean, it's going to be great. But you could see, Dennis, like something is going down, issues are ongoing. Like you would like to see the support to be able to be there.
I
Should
just
it?
don't understand the point behind Google Fi doing this. Like, I
Well,
literally don't
how do you
understand it.
distinguish yourself, Dennis? Like if you're going to be a network of like telling people, hey, we got a great 5G network in T-Mobile as your main backbone mobile provider. And then we also have this network of Wi-Fi hotspots. And then we also have these partnerships through this Orion program. I mean, you're and don't they have US what's their
You
other
got it,
roaming
US
partner?
Cellular.
Is it US Cellular? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that offers some regional locationality too. Like, dude, I think Google Fi in concept truly offers a best of both world scenarios. The only problem is they need a bigger network. If they had Verizon or AT&T, it would just enhance the size of the network.
So that's not really what I meant. Like, what I meant is this.
No, I know what you
Google,
mean. I know what you mean, but I'm talking about the actual premise of the business. Like
right, but
they're a
that's the crux.
multi-dynamic connectivity platform.
But that's
They're
the
not a
crux of
mobile
where
network
we're
operator.
that's the crux of where that's the issue. So Google in my eyes is not necessarily a connectivity based business. They're an ad business. That's their main moneymaker, ads and selling your data, right? I don't see how them setting up such a scheme where they make money off of the Wi-Fi necessarily, like, while they might make a penny making money off the Wi-Fi revenue, they could probably make a dollar if they just open up the Wi-Fi to everyone so people would be connected using the internet more because everything is tied in with like Google AdSense, if you get where I'm going with this. So like
Yeah, but
that
they're
was
not the owners of it, so how do they,
but
you
that's
know?
the thing. They don't need to be the owners of the pipe. They basically, for all intents and purposes, Google is the internet for most Americans. Like the first thing you do when you want to get to a website is you go to Google. The browser that you use is Google Chrome. The video platform that you're going to go watch content on for the most part is YouTube. And if it's not YouTube, Google still probably has their cookies and trackers or something embedded in the website that you're visiting to watch that content on. Like Google can make money, makes hand over fist more money from these activities than the penny or so that they're going to make off of like the Wi-Fi sharing revenue agreement with whoever the heck is going to take advantage of it, if you get what I'm saying.
I do. I don't know. I think they would need some flexibility there with those partnerships or whatever. They'd have to have a little bit more juice with them, maybe.
Maybe. I'm not sure, but I do have something I want to talk about real quick as a pop quiz topic. So a couple weeks ago, remember you were doing the root metrics report for 2022?
Yeah,
I'd like to pull up and specifically look at an updated one for Pittsburgh. Finally.
Pittsburgh. Yeah, we
Yeah.
could do that.
Yeah, I think the results are going to be shocking, and yeah, I want to see your reaction because you've been to Pittsburgh at least a couple times.
All right, we do have first half 2022 for Pittsburgh. Okay, so that is available. All right, let me go ahead and do a screen share, buddy.
Also, if you could get the lucky chat off the screen so that way the screen's extra big for people.
Yeah, man. Okay. All right, Dennis, here it is, sir. I can probably zoom this in a little bit.
So first thing of note, right off the rip, 3-way tie. Were you expecting that?
98.4. They even have the same exact number.
Yeah, were you expecting that?
I mean, I could see that, Dennis, because like AT&T is really good in PA. T-Mobile has improved exponentially in PA. And Verizon with the C-band upgrades scaling. I mean, they all kind of have their strength in that, right? So am I surprised pleasantly? You know what I mean? But them all getting the same number, I think that's the most surprising thing.
All right, next is reliability, which goes to what I say about AT&T being the most reliable in Pittsburgh.
That's a really high rating, man. 99.6.
Fun fact, I was actually looking back on these with Carlos, and there was a year where AT&T actually got over 100. I don't know how they did it, but they did.
How do you get over 100?
I don't know. I'm just saying there was a year where that happened. Because Carlos had me look back at Pittsburgh where Sprint won a year, or to see if Sprint ever won a year, but that wasn't the case. But anyway, so there's network reliability. Now here's the one that really has me questioning life. Go to network accessibility.
Whoa.
How the hell? How the hell is AT&T most reliable in this?
This is a good point. What I've noticed, this metric, this network accessibility, absolutely killed AT&T in the first half 2022 testing en route. Their network accessibility scores pretty much nationwide is suspect. According to this testing, however they're testing, however they're collecting data, whatever is happening, T-Mobile and Verizon have much better network accessibility nationally, statewide, and citywide. In a lot of places, man.
Yeah, but here's the thing. And in my real world testing, T-Mobile would be more akin to where AT&T's at from because accessibility means, do I have bars on my phone, right? Like that's what it means, right?
No, I don't think that's really how it works. I remember reading the network accessibility thing. We'll come back to it, Dennis. We'll actually look up at the
Well,
the mission
all I'll
as well.
say is that if it's bars on a phone, AT&T by far and away is going to be your champ for getting the signal in the places that even Verizon can't reach.
It's not bars on phone. I could guarantee you that.
But Verizon, I would say, is pretty like spot on. I'd give AT&T like a 98, honestly, for accessibility, in my opinion, and T-Mobile would be roughly at like a 90 for Pittsburgh. But we'll find out what the details are. Go ahead and get a network speed. Because this one was also slightly pleasantly surprising.
Oh wow, look at that, man. AT&T 99.2, T-Mobile 99.2, and then Verizon at 98.2. I'm not really all that surprised, Dennis.
No, I said pleasantly surprising.
Oh, okay. I like, to me, man, I know what AT&T is doing out there, so kudos to them, and T-Mobile's N41, they're scaling it. And then Verizon kind of just starting the whole N77 thing this this half. I would expect this number for Verizon 98.2 to probably get over 99, next round of testing. So
also, no one man came in with the network accessibility definition in the comment.
Oh, okay. Great. Accessibility performance across data, call, and text includes latency. Okay, so Dennis, that may matter. That latency piece,
But
maybe.
that's the thing. That's the thing. AT&T and Verizon have significantly lower latency on average than T-Mobile here. I mean, you were impressed when you were here when we were doing the Verizon speed test. You saw like a 14 ping, 19 ping.
Yeah, I don't get that here. I mean, latencies here are pretty good. Like they're in the 20s.
Yeah, but like so Verizon generally has, I'd say, the lowest latency here, followed by AT&T somewhere in around that like 20 to 24 category. T-Mobile, specifically and especially when on N41, latency is above 40, generally speaking. So they have the worst latency by like a long country mile, especially when we start talking about loaded. And then calling is team hands down the worst thing for T-Mobile. And texting, it's whatever. Like calling AT&T wins, which makes sense. Verizon's very close, but AT&T's got 99.5. Data performance, pretty close.
T-Mobile had the fastest median download and upload, 250 and 19 respectively.
And I
T-Mobile's median
agree with
download of
those.
250 seems
I agree with those speeds, by the way. T-Mobile generally hovers around that mark, which is a big improvement for them, but also kind of sad if you consider the fact that they have 100 megahertz N41 in there. But still, that's generally where they hover.
I mean, the only way we could actually compare is whenever Verizon and AT&T start getting their 100 plus megahertz channels of N77, then we could say, well, let's compare, you know?
Also, no one man says that the accessibility category addresses the question of how long does it take to access the network. So that would be like that'd be a question of coverage, right? How
It
long does it?
sounds like a question of accessibility, meaning latency,
Hmm,
right? Like how fast does it ping?
maybe. But yeah, I mean that's the updated report. I
We
don't
got a
know if
request, actually. Let's do a quick one for Tony Phony Baloney. He said Flint, Michigan, I think.
sure.
Was it Flint or Lansing? I forget what he said there.
Lansing, Flint, Detroit.
Okay, well, we could do all of them if they're there. All right, so, all right. We don't have a Flint. Was it Lansing? Got a Lansing. And they're all pretty good. Verizon 99.7, T-Mobile 99.5, AT&T 98.6. Let's see if there's any glaring issues. Verizon 100% in network reliability, T-Mobile 99.7, AT&T 99.2. Accessibility, HC, there's problems, Dennis. 93 for AT&T. The others are all over 96. Network speed, Verizon's 100%, T-Mobile 99.9, AT&T 97.7. And also, I think, wow, look at the calling. I think what we're starting to see is AT&T's growth starting to create problems on the network. They're going to have to continue to upgrade.
Makes sense considering that for the bulk of their network, it's primarily LTE or the NSA 5G, which just doesn't have the same level of capacity that 5G can bring for them.
Yeah, and we don't have the Detroit numbers, so sorry about that, buddy. Let's see here. How long does it take to IP? Yeah, we could do this probably when the final numbers get uploaded, but that's really it, Dennis, man. Anything else you want to cover before we bounce off the show here?
No, I just want to say congrats to T-Mobile for making significant leaps and strides in Pittsburgh, because that would be a three-way tie would have been unimaginable for them every year. So I am impressed that they even got that result. While I do question um some of the testing, specifically when it comes to the concept of what accessibility actually means, I'm still impressed that T-Mobile was able to achieve the result that they did, and overall, that's a good thing for all consumers in the Pittsburgh market.
Yeah, they're enjoying those networks, man. The nice thing is when those networks perform like that, you get to choose your provider based on other things than the network. You can pick on perks, you can pick on tethering, you can pick on price. You don't have to choose the lesser network just to save money.
Well, I'm going to ride this till I die. If you care about calling, you don't pick T-Mobile. That's the one thing I'll ride on.
Unless you could do it over IP.
Okay, like a FaceTime. Well, even you did a FaceTime call where T-Mobile apparently is
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
You
Well,
don't T-Mobile just isn't good for calling, man. AT legit, this means something. I would say AT&T and Verizon are pretty much tied for call quality here in Pittsburgh. I know that it's not common. People probably don't agree with me about AT&T's call quality, but I think it's actually quite phenomenal here just because of that level of density. Verizon's up there just because even though they might only have like one bar, somehow that call still stays connected even with like the weakest of bars. Whereas AT&T's like basically always got like 3+ bars and the calls never drop. The handoffs are that just perfect. But
my
anyway,
brother's been with T-Mobile for like 10 years, and that is the only thing he misses from Verizon is the calling. That's it.
it is the thing that frustrates me the most when it doesn't work because when I'm calling, it's probably to actually get meaningfully something done, like i.e. a call to customer service, or maybe it's I don't know if I'd call it important, but I'm having a conversation with like Carlos or someone, right? Like I don't want my calls failing while I'm driving. That's a more frustrating experience than my Spotify music buffering or something because now
Yes,
I
sir.
have to redial and I'm distracted off the road.
Yeah. Hey, Dennis. Thank you, man.
No problem.
Thanks for coming on the show. Good convo. Good stuff we covered tonight. Let me and Dennis know that you enjoyed the live stream. You do that by liking this. And then if it's your first time here, you're supposed to share this. That you got to do it. So make sure you do that. And then subscribe for more and then turn on the bell notifications to never miss an upload. Big shout out to Telco Jesus. Hashtag Telco Jesus for Dennis. Best phone plans podcast. Tell them about it, Dennis.
Yeah, so I do a little known show called Best Phone Plans with my co-host Stetson Doggett. We talk about all things cell phone related with a specific focus tending to be around the MVNO space. We get some phenomenal guests on. In fact, we just recently had a show where me and Sneed were together doing an interview with Peter Adderton, who was the founder of Boost Mobile and is now creating a MVNO called Mobile X that I highly encourage y'all to check out. Um, we've also had other friends of the show on, such as Roger Etner. We had the VP of Marketing, Aaron North from Mint. Ahmed Katak was on from US Mobile. So lots of great content and interviews that can only be found on the Best Phone Plans channel that I highly recommend that you check out if you have some time.
Amazing, Dennis. We got a link in the live chat right here. You guys can go there and subscribe and check out some of his content there. They're hashtagging Telco Poppy now. It's official. All things hashtags. Hashtag 2Live Crew. Hashtag Replay Crew. Uh, man, I don't. There's just too many hashtags. Hashtag whatever you guys want. All the throwback hashtags. But that's it. We out this piece.